A good athlete is doing both at the same time. He's maxing, delusional, like a level of confidence that make you even take risks sometimes, but it's part of what bring you to those results. But at the same time, he need to know when to be the other side of the coin. That is perfect rationality and objectivity. And you need to switch, like, bro, like Luffy in One Piece, he's going straight. And there's a moment he get destroyed and you have the ellipse. It's time to think. So you need to be boss. You need to be pure and a rationality genius at the same time at the right moment. Because, you know, like when you're too rational, you accept things that are too rational from you and you could slow yourself too. Right? Guys doing things that never been done. They are delusional. They are stupid at the moment they do it. And it's amazing. And if you're too rational, even like you're always asking yourself, one rep, and you never leave the extraordinary moment. You're in a great training and you're like, you know what? I stop when it fails. And you end with 5 reps more in a single day. And if you don't know this in calisthenics, bro, like you're missing something, because it can happen if sometime you are dumb enough.
Don't tunnel vision. That's, again, something that, you know, I had to learn as well the hard way, because again, I used to kind of be like that as well.
And I had a student that was still struggling with the grip. And I was like, you do everything the same as others. Why for you it's not working the same way? And you know, even I know you're coaching online. So there are certain things that even with the best eyes and the best experience in the world, if you're at a certain distance, you can see it. And so I took, it wasn't a while ago, I took all those students struggling with the grip and I asked them from 0 to 100, how much are you squeezing your hands? And all the guys struggling was up to 70%. And I told them, okay, let's make it simple. And I tell you the way I tell my student. In planche, what's the priority? Is it gravity or is it the lean? It's gravity. Okay. So should you be pushing inside the bar to push yourself away more? Or should you squeeze more to resist to the lean more? It's more important to push inside the bar. Those are our priorities. First gravity, then the lean. So I told my student, okay, it's really simple. Take your arm, push away, and just close your hand, like squeeze 20%, like really chill. You feel there is no crispation, there is no problem, and my main goal is to push inside the bar, and then I catch the bar. But those people squeezing the bar 100%. The problem is that when you squeeze your hand too much first, it tends to bend your biceps because you're activating the biceps. It's getting shorter. It's unlocking the elbow a little. And if you really still try to squeeze 100% in pushing inside the bar, yeah, you visually have an extended arm, but you really feel different. Right now, I'm squeezing 100% and pushing what I can. I feel my rotator cuff weird and stuff. And if I just stop to over squeeze my hand, it's distended. It's natural. It's feeling good. And all those guys have been doing so much lean before to be with me. So the lean can be a really a trap too, because you're trying to go as far forward as possible. Most people do it that way. So they are squeezing as much as possible. And so from day one of their journey, they're building bad habits that will get them stuck once they really get the full planche. And they will have to relearn the proportion of how much are you doing this? How much are you doing this? And sometimes you have people that do everything properly. And the problem is not even what they do, is the amount and the priorities they have. And it depends on their perception of the movement.
Yeah. Quick break from the video to tell you I'm in Germany with Gore Nation for FIBO, and there's a FIBO sale right now. So if you like the equipment that Gore Nation makes, that you see in all the videos I make, and the fitness clothing that I'm wearing right now and in the video, then check out Gore Nation and you can get a lot off with the FIBO sale. And then on top of that, you can get an extra 10% off with my code JACK10. It helps me do athlete conversations like this and interviews that a lot of you say you love. So if you want to help support me, help use the code.
Yeah, okay, I fully get what you're saying now. Because, yeah, even for me, I was one of those guys that had the issue with the grip. And it was actually Marcus Wong, years ago now, when I had the conversation with him. And then from there, okay, I switched the grip up. All these little things, making it a habit. Now, I'm talking a little bit about feel. Do you feel like most people should train by feel? How much do you think, okay, like feel comes into play?
Okay, so you can't answer in a binary way, yes, no, because calisthenics is feeling. So first, feeling is all. Train with feelings. Now be driven only by feelings. No, you end doing bullshit when you train only that way. You adapt your structure according to your feelings. Yes, at least you have a base. If you train the way you feel, okay, so one day it's 4 hours, the next day you're done, the day after it's 1 hour. You can't be driven by your feeling, but you need your feeling to adapt your structure to your tiredness level and the present moment.
Yeah, I say there's a difference between, you know, training by feel and, you know, training but using your feelings to regulate.
And when you regulate never adding. That's things I see. You know, some guys, I tell them adapt, and they are like, oh, today I felt great, 3 hours. No, adaptation is change the proportion. So for example, you're more tired, so you quit some volume work and you add banded work, but it's always digressive. You rarely adapt going up in the amount of work. It's occasional. You have a meeting, okay, you have a competition, okay, but it's not efficient on the long term to add things. You have your base and you quit some if you need to. This is adaptation. It's always digressive.
I mean, that makes sense, especially if you had a structure that, okay, if I do this amount, but this is what I'm saying I should do. These are what I'm saying I need to do this in my training so I can force myself to adapt. Even if you feel good, it doesn't make too much sense to add even more because you already said, okay, this is what is needed to do. These are the actions I need to take. So I can understand that.
Okay, I told you I don't think, I observe. Watch what you're doing and stop trying to have ideas. Because hey, when it's true, 99% of the time, it's just logical. It makes sense. And the moment you understand it, you're like, wow, it was in front of me for so long and I didn't see it because you was looking for things that are too complicated. You're making things hard. So fix the racine of the problem. And when you just dissect yourself objectively, point by point, even if you don't really know what you're doing, if you are logical, you can really find practical and logical answers easily. Then after, I think, like a few years ago, it was really hard to find valid information on internet, but today it's easier. I mean, it's a little of a mess because everyone is saying one thing and the opposite. Even who you should listen should be natural. There are people, you know, they never give you an information without justifying and giving a meaning and interconnecting with other patterns. There are people, they just come and do affirmation. But don't listen to these people that just tell you something without giving you the experience or telling you what was the demonstration that prove it's true. So be logical. Bro, if you cut off your brain, you observe and you're logical in everything you do, you will find who you should listen to. You will most likely find at least a part of the answers and even the question you're looking for. So yeah, just be logical. Even guy like Rama 180, you see the guy, this guy was done to be great. I never heard I'm 180 from Rama. I've been asking. So again, what are you? How do you behave? How do you talk to yourself? Do you believe, or do you know you will get it? Because even the way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive the movement, translate into your activation. If you're anxious and you're like, wow, planche is hard, so you're going to resist. So you will have the activation of a guy that wants to resist. If you're confident and you're like, sorry, but fuck no, I have it. It's easy. So you will dominate the movement. You will push more than you squeeze, etc. So to answer your question, you can be whatever. You need to know how to be delusional, and you can be delusional when you don't have thoughts. And that's why I say you can be stupid and intelligent at the same time, because you can just not think. So you're not really stupid. You're just not thinking. You're in the present moment. So you let some space for the extraordinary. And when you have a real question, you ask yourself clear question to find real answer when you really need an answer. But the problem of people is that they think when there is no need to think, and when there is no real problem to solve, and they end creating problems. And after they tell you calisthenics is hard, you make it hard.
Yeah, you know, that's the truest thing. Sometimes you can think when you don't need to think. So it would have been better if I just didn't think at all. So yeah, even in other things as well. Athletes are getting stuck in their training, and, you know, and this part was, you know, a little bit about the doubt.
Because there is a point people think that they have to keep building strength when they actually have a lot of strength already, and they are wasting a lot of the strength they have. So there is a certain point you earn more progress in not wasting strength instead of building more. Not choose how many sets, just like, oh, I want that much set. No. How long is it reasonable to train? How many hours of training can give you optimal progress and a good training recovery ratio? Then you feel the time you have. But so the maximum amount of sets is supposed to be set already. So after, you need to distribute the amount of energy you have into the two main aspects of your progression. But so I don't choose the number of sets. And there is something interesting. Personally, I've been living it that way. Some others train completely differently, but I mean, I've been progressing pretty linearly for more than a decade. I've not been injured for like around 7-8 years, I think. So I'm pretty sure I'm not telling bullshit in saying this, but higher your level is, less you should train to keep progressing. So for me personally, it was like higher I came, less I was doing. And for example, the moment I came 7 to 9 I did it with 1 a day. My volume work was 1 suicide combo a day. That's it. And after I can go train to do more like medium length, more varied combo or ground things, etc. But I had even to separe the volume work of the rest of my training to keep both optimal and keep my ratio.
Okay. So first thing was obviously we all have a schedule, we have a time to train. And obviously it's not you choosing, but it's okay, what can you do into that time? Is that what you're saying?
You distribute your effort and you adapt, because it's not something that is fixed and every day the same.
Yeah, I kind of think about this. It's like when I'm training, it's like, if you don't ask, you don't receive, in a way.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I think. If I don't try this thing or you know, like build to it in some certain way, for you, does that sound like a sort of similar thing? It's like you kind of have to push for it, like you say, you kind of force yourself into a way, or with that, you need to give your body that reason, and that's kind of how I usually phrase it.
Yeah, adaptation happens only when it's absolutely necessary. If you ask your body 3 reps, and you forever do 3 reps, after a long amount of time, you will try a 4th reps. It will maybe work, but it's mostly mental, you know, if it's just attempts, you know. Now, when you understand that how adaptation works, but it's become even easier to force adaptation. Let's say, for example, okay, I just take an example. I have 1 press, I want 2. If I just do attempts and I want to get a second one, wow, it's really hard. Now I can tell myself, so what make my second press hard? The intensity that I can't assume already. So we can reduce intensity to go to the limit and force adaptation. So on the press, it would be reduce the lever, so the range of motion, and you end with partial range of motion. It's a way to always get close to the limit, and the game become pushing the limit. You, day after day, instead of telling yourself, I will get my full range of motion second press, you tell yourself, okay, I will first try half range of motion. It worked. Okay, now 55, now 60, now 65, till the moment you have 2 reps.
Someone like you have a sort of a system or a method you like, something like that, or something it's like you have this way of thinking about it. Most people, they would think, okay, yeah, I need to do the attempt of the 2. Okay, if I don't do the attempt of the 2, I'll go to bands and then I'll do this. Sounds like you're thinking of it in a slightly different way.
Again, sorry, but you know that there are things like, I'm not giving you any personal answers. I'm not ever telling you what I think. I think you see that I take what you say, I try to sit, give it the context, observe, and tell you what I know. If I don't know, as I said with the XXX, if someone found another way, tell me. I want to observe it. I want to see how it works. So I'm not telling you anything I like. I'm not telling you anything I think. I'm telling you things that are facts. That's the problem with people in calisthenics, is that I want nothing. I want the outcome. So I stay out of this, I look at it objectively, and I take the most optimal way. So if you want to forever, subjectively, ego-driven, do attempts forever, do it. But me on my side, I have eyes and a brain, and if I keep it simple, it can be simple. And most of the time people make it complicated when it's not. So again, if you're experience-driven and you want to work hard and feel it's hard, go that way. But if you want results, there's another way. Just make it logical.
Talking about being rational, you start off observing, where am I starting? You didn't just say, okay, tuck planche because tuck planche. You observe, where am I? You observe, see, okay, you moved on. Technique in the bands, good habits, like we talked about. You move on to the full when it makes sense. You're being intellectual, but you're not holding yourself back. You're
not choosing. You're not trying to choose, because you can do volume and band. They are complementing each other. You don't need to choose. Often there are people, they talk about decision. They ask you, when should I move on? Did you try? Okay. But you try to choose, you try to have a certain control. And bro, when you stop trying to control everything in your training, it's become easier. You don't have to.